Good afternoon and hello, everyone. My name is Rich Longo of Flycast Partners, and I'd like to thank you for joining us for another Flycast Partners webcast. Today's topic of discussion is what's new with Ivanti Neurons. We're revisiting what we discussed earlier last fall. And you'll get an opportunity to ask Ivanti about some of these new things that they have added in Neurons today. Our presenters, both coming from Ivanti, are Crystal Maselli and Darren Gosen, and I hope I pronounced your last name right there, Darren of Ivanti. And Crystal is a Solutions and Technical Marketing Vice President, and Darren is a Senior Director of Product Management. Both have been in the IT industry for many years in various capacities. Crystal and Darren both understand the pains that organizations face every day in IT, and they help address these pains to make your job easier. Today, they're going to show us how Ivanti Neurons can help across all your IT needs in your organization. Before we get started, let me introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners offers best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, IT security, enterprise service management, and workload automation spaces using ITIL best practices. Our professional services team has well over 5,600 plus professional services engagements, both on-site and remote. As a company, Flycast Partners has over 1,200 regular customers all throughout Canada and the United States. I encourage you to reach out to us at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or visit our website and chat with our IT experts Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. during regular business hours Eastern time, and they'll be happy to answer any questions you might have, get you data sheets, white papers, set up demonstrations, get you training, support, whatever that might be. Or if you'd rather, you can simply email us at info@flycastpartners.com. Please type any questions that you have today, folks, in our questions area of this presentation, and I will read them off to our presenters today. Now, without further delay, I am actually going to go ahead and we're going to turn this over to Crystal. Crystal, I've got our deck up for you.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank Flycast Partners for hosting us today. And thank you for coming to the webinar to hear more about some of the exciting work that we're doing with Ivanti Neurons. And we're really focused on enabling IT teams to deliver on the promise of what we call the everywhere workplace. And so together today, we're going to spend some time getting you up to speed on how Neurons can address the concerns that most IT teams seem to be facing today. And we'll share a live product demo of the product in action. So at Ivanti, we have a fire that just never goes out. It's fueled by the understanding of the threats that our customers are facing, the changes in the working environment, but also by the innovation that is bringing some really cool technology to market. We see that IT teams are dealing with a number of complexities, and these have been exacerbated by accelerated digital transformation across the enterprise. That has really been accelerated by the situation with COVID, the changing working conditions, which has driven us to address the needs of what we call that everywhere workplace, and that explosion in endpoints and the number and type of them, and the increasing threats to those digital assets that have been a result of some of the changes that we've all experienced over the past 12 to 18 months. And so with resources stretched really thin, we find that IT teams need solutions to help them optimize, become more efficient and agile, and scale to meet that rising demand. So we've got some cool tools and technologies that we've been watching ourselves, but also that we're bringing to market. Some of the ones that we're seeing are things like biometrics and passwordless authentication, sometimes referred to in conjunction with multi-factor authentication, 5G, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and autonomous computing, and even some of that applied into vehicles. So if you go to the next slide, where are we focused? So at Ivanti, we really want to help IT teams become more responsive to proactively address risks and business impacts before they occur and before they have that opportunity to affect the employee experience. And so we help to discover, support, and provide service to all of the endpoints that respect that new employee workspace, and also to scale IT teams to automate beyond the basics. self-healing and putting powerful tools into the hands of both users and agents so that they can address those needs both proactively and more rapidly reactively. And then really to secure that complex and diverse working environment and those critical business resources at a time when, as we all know, they're under increasing attack. And so our goal at Ivanti is to really do all of this with an experience that's intuitive and simple for the user, and just enables everyone to do their jobs and self-service to solve their needs. And so at Ivanti, we think the 4 global pillars that you see here, discover, manage, secure, and service, together provide a really unique value proposition. And so, our big focus is on each of these as they each provide their own value, but the power of them together is truly special. And that's what we're going to spend some time on talking about with Ivanti Neurons, and how we deliver against each one of those and together to support that everywhere workplace. So let's talk about how we make that everywhere workplace possible with Neurons. And so our autonomous platform helps to find, protect, manage, and service every single device on your network. So your business doesn't have to. It doesn't really matter wherever your users work or what they work on. Ivanti delivers that peace of mind so that the people can perform. But what really sets us apart is how we make all of those solutions work together. And we do that with Ivanti Neurons, which is our hyper automation platform for IT. And so Ivanti Neurons is purpose-built. It's in the world to accelerate technology integration because it facilitates information and actions across all of the disparate pieces of the IT environment. And it uses the power of self, we call self-healing, self-service, self-secure, to make it all happen. And so with hyperautomation powered by advanced artificial intelligence, the Ivanti Neurons platform uses machine learning and deep learning to self-heal, self-secure, and self-service devices. So Neurons resides in the cloud, and it brings together all of those Ivanti pillars, the discover, manage, secure, and service. And Neurons actually, it's really cool. It's really like the brain in that it learns your environment over time and then can automate a response even before an end user is aware of an issue. And that's what makes it truly different. So let's drill a little bit into what a neuron is. And so a neuron is the basic working unit of the brain. It's a specialized cell that's designed to transmit information to other nerve cells, muscles, or gland cells. So that's what a brain neuron is. An Ivanti neuron is a powerful and constantly evolving platform that delivers information and automation to IT and then ultimately to the business. But to drill a little bit deeper, if Ivanti Neurons, if you go to the next slide, if you don't mind, Rich, Ivanti Neurons are that hyper automation platform that helps our customers practically apply deep learning and automation to secure, heal, and service. And so Neurons actually provide discovery and intelligence from all devices in an organization, wherever they reside. It gives a single view of management across all of those devices, and it gives you that artificial intelligence-driven automation to help you detect issues and then perform actions or remediation so that you can self-heal, self-service, and manage across the enterprise. But what I think is really helpful is to kind of see it all together, right? So this way you can kind of understand how Neurons connects through the entire platform across that discover, manage, secure, and service. So you can not just address all of those point needs and concerns that IT teams are facing, with the explosion of endpoints and the increased security risks and the remote working model, but also to provide all of that service to the employees who are increasingly presented with many, many options. And now the service that IT provides and the employee experience that is delivered through which IT is such a critical element, that is now a differentiator for companies to acquire and retain top talent. And so it's super important to be able to have a superior employee experience that's the same wherever they are. If they are on a mobile device, if they're at their workplace, if they're in their home office, if they're on the road, to be able to get them the consistent information and capabilities to service their needs so that IT is a benefit. It is a net positive to the employee experience rather than a detractor. And so that's really our goal, is to deliver that ultimate everywhere workplace with a superior employee experience through the means of all of these pillars that we talked about. So at this point, I think it'd be really nice for you to maybe see it in place. So we actually have Darren Gosin on the line. He's going to show you the connected solution in action. So I'm going to hand it over to him to give you guys a live look.
I'm assuming we can all see the screen now. We're looking at Ivanti Neurons. So, well, hi everyone. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Darren Gosin. Rich, you did absolutely get it correct. Thank you. I am Senior Director of Product Management here at Ivanti, and I'm responsible for our Ivanti Neurons platform. So I'm going to actually show you some of the key capabilities across the Ivanti Neurons platform, put a face to some of the stuff that Crystal mentioned. And as we go through as well, for those of you that did take part in this webinar about 6 months back, I'll talk about some of the innovations that we've done over the past couple releases. At Ivanti, we release our products on a quarterly basis, so there's constantly new innovation flowing into the Ivanti Neurons platform. So here we are in the Ivanti Neurons homepage. Where I'm first going to go is a product that we call Edge Intelligence. And Edge Intelligence gives real-time information around what's happening on the devices, wherever they're located across the globe. So here we can see, for example, all of the devices that we have within our domain across the globe. I can see where they are, and I have the ability to drill into the specific areas, drill into the individual devices. But if we think about the value that Edge Intelligence will provide, is real-time information around what's happening. So it gives a service desk analyst, service desk manager, director of service desk the ability to get proactive with issues before they become tickets that are resulting at the service desk. And to do so, there are different ways you can navigate into different dashboards, or you can use your natural language. So we have a natural language processor in our search bar here, and it allows you to use your natural language. So I'm going to say, show me login times. This is an example of what customers have been doing to actually look to see what their users are experiencing, especially as we've all started to work from anywhere. We as organizations need to understand what our users are experiencing when they're using their devices. So here I can ask of the Edge devices what's happening with login performance. I get a breakdown of all of the devices that we saw, what their experience is. Now I can drill into this and start to now do some troubleshooting. Again, remember, we're being proactive here. We're trying to identify where devices are having a poor experience, where users are having a poor experience, so that I can start to resolve those before they actually become tickets. Here I'll search for my device, and I will be able to first click into this. I'm going to get a device dashboard, so I get a bunch of metrics around what's happening with this device, information, even some actions here that I can take. But I can also go into the logins. So this is an area that we've innovated in the past couple releases as well. So I can go into the individual sessions here and get a breakdown of what's happening when this user logs in. So I can see all of the different things that are being executed at login for a pretty lengthy login time. 43 seconds feels like a lifetime when I'm trying to log into my machine. So I can see here, for example, that over 22 seconds of that is this plugin or process that's running. So I may want to go in and proactively modify this process, see how it's affecting other users, and make changes to it so that I can improve the experience for this user and hopefully do so before they get so frustrated that they create a ticket. So this is one example of the types of information and diagnostics that I can do by leveraging real-time information from devices. Now, another way in which I could go ahead and do this is I can actually just go and run and see a list of the information that I can get from the edge. This is something that we continually add to release over release. So we've done more recently a big push on sensors around VPNs as users are accessing corporate networks through VPNs, etc. And this also is the start of information that we can use to take automation actions to be able to self-heal as well. Within all of these, I can trend, I can set alerts so that when they hit or exceed thresholds, I'm alerted and or automation can be executed. Now, that's our Edge Intelligence, and Edge Intelligence is part of an initiative that we have with Ivanti Neurons to provide visibility to organizations. The other way in which we provide visibility is through our discovery capabilities. And discovery really is key in understanding what you have within your organization, where you know about it from, how well secure is it, etc. So let me share a little bit around our discovery. I'll go to our Smart Advisors here. Smart Advisors has a number of charts, metrics, as well as device reconciliation, which we'll get into, which is key to our discovery. And then additional content, things like device stability, in which we use machine learning to look at streaming metrics of devices, to give our customers insight into the stability of their devices, make recommendations on which ones need to be re-imaged, replaced, etc. But for the sake of time, let's look at our discovery in our device reconciliation. And our discovery uses multiple techniques such as active and passive scanning techniques to find all devices of all types within your organization. It uses those techniques as well as connectors to either find additional devices or to find additional context and information about devices. So, we discover devices obviously through our agent tree, through our endpoint management solutions, through our Neurons agents that are deployed, mobile iron, connector to mobile iron so we can find mobile devices, etc. But also through like Active Directory, you can get information around procurement sources, etc. This gives you that complete view of your devices plus context around it. Then we can actually go and look to see where these devices are being discovered from, their primary. So I can look to see which devices are not discovered by endpoint management, etc. This gives me a really good view of devices that we've discovered as well as the source of them. We have an extensive catalog of connectors that we've built out to be able to discover different devices as well as get different context of devices. So you'll see a number of connectors to different systems that are going to give us that full rich discovery, that 360-degree view. So what are some of the ways that we can use all of this information around discovery? Well, number one, this gets pushed into CMDB, but two, within our Neurons workspace. So let me show you the device side of our Neurons workspace. You can see here, now I have a view of all of the devices that we've discovered. Notice all of the different device types that we have, mobile devices, servers, virtual machines, computers, workstations, etc. Let me drill into, again, my device here and give you a view of how you could use this. So our Neurons workspace gives really a 360-degree view of devices in an organization. And this helps a service desk analyst who is troubleshooting issues that might have come in through the service desk and gives them the ability to really drill into device as well as diagnose what's happening. So you can see all of the information about what's happening in the device, what the CPU is, processes that are running, the network, where we're getting all this information. So you can see I've got it from Endpoint Manager, from Edge Intelligence, etc. I also have the ability to leverage that intelligence directly from the edge on a one-to-one basis. So here I can see, for example, what the memory usage is. If I'm troubleshooting a device that has poor experience, I might want to see how much memory is available or how much free disk is available, etc. So this gives an analyst the ability to get that information firsthand without having to connect with the user, get them to find that information, relay it back, or remote control, which is a little more invasive. That said, we do have full remote control capabilities. So if an agent does need to remote into a user's device to troubleshoot it, they absolutely can. But our objective here is to make this as good of an experience as possible for both the agent and the end user so that they can diagnose, understand what the issue is, and then be able to resolve it. So we have everything around the software on the machine, which patches have been deployed onto the machine, which ones are missing. So a very good security lens and full inventory, really. Whatever you need to find out about the machine, I can do so from here and get a very, very comprehensive view of what's on this machine. Now, if we think about resolving issues here, we've also added in our automation capabilities and given this to the analysts themselves. So we have out of the box, we call actions, which are automation bots that can be executed to resolve issues, as well as the ability for our customers, as you build your own bots, which I'll get into next, can publish them here now to the analyst directly from this view. So this gives the analyst the information to diagnose the issue, fully understand what the problem is, all of those tools and information, then plus the ability to execute automation to resolve that issue in a very automated, consistent, accurate way. And as your specialists, as you're freeing up time for your specialists, because you're not taking these tickets and escalating to them, they can build the automation here in our no-code, low-code platform, which I'll show in a second here, to make available to the analyst to then be able to execute. Part of this as well, key here is integration into our service management suite so that any changes can be recorded in tickets, they can be updated, etc. So really kind of key comprehensive information and automation that's integrated across our portfolio. You've seen patch information, service desk information, obviously very specific device information, etc. So Neurons really is the automation platform here that's integrated across the board. Now let's take a look at our healing capability. And this is where a lot of the fun stuff happens here, and which we call our neurons. And the way that I think of our neurons are really like an army of bots, automation bots that are kind of working in the background, trying to identify issues and then diagnose them, resolve them before they become impactful to people. And we have bots that cover business productivity, business continuity, performance, compliance, etc. Now, let's take a look at one of these bots here. This is a compliance, one that we have within our compliance category. But let's take a look at, for example, what this bot can do. This one here has a focus on security. So what it's doing is, in the background, is looking across your estate of devices, the ones that have been discovered here, and it will first run a security health check. So we'll look at what this stage does here. It'll look for all devices that have anti-spyware turned off, or the status of antivirus, auto update, firewall, user access control, this one's specific for Windows, etc. So it's going to go out across your landscape and collect this information. Now it has the ability to look across different data sets, different stages, and start to then break down that information. So it can look where this condition exists and this other condition doesn't, etc. And it's then going to break out into different stages and perform different actions here. So this bot will check to see for devices that have firewalls disabled. It'll go ahead and enable it. If user access control is, again, it'll use automation to enable it. If anti-malware is turned off, it's going to start that service, etc. So this is a bot that's working to make sure that there are no devices within your organization that are a security risk to your organization through that. It'll go even further, though. It's going to go do an additional check after it's done all that remediation, make sure that everything is good. But if there are things that haven't been resolved, then it can take additional context, like, is this a corp join device? Is it off of the network? If it's on the network, you might want to do things like encrypt the disk or isolate it from the network for a period. It might look for MDM enrollment, etc. So you can see here how our bot is using the ability to get real-time information from devices, using this information in conjunction, in context of who the user is, what the device is, all of the different attributes of the device, and then making decisions to be able to kind of proactively resolve these issues before they become an issue for the end user, a security threat for the organization, or whatever it may be. We have extensive number of queries and capabilities and actions within our Neurons platform. We have a marketplace of where we continually add in new bots and new capabilities, etc. So the Neurons really allows you to leverage the right automation, to be proactive, to resolve issues, to self-heal those issues once we've been able to identify them, as well as give the tool set that your agents need to be able to resolve issues in a very automated and accurate way. So that's our Neurons for self-healing. Where I'll jump into is another module that we've added into Neurons more recently, which is our patch intelligence. So patch obviously is a key aspect to Ivanti's portfolio, and we've taken it further here with our patch intelligence. And this gives our customers the ability to understand what's happening in the landscape, all of the bulletins that are available there or that need to be considered there out in the wild. We can see what's happening. We get comprehensive information of this. Also, where we're leveraging interesting ways to use machine learning as well. Here's an example in which we're looking at the trending, and this is where we're using machine learning to really look at chatter from social media sites to see if there's chatter around patches out there. And if there are, then we can pull insights from that chatter and provide it to our customers to give information around what's happening with that. This important information you would use to be able to assess any risk within your patch strategy. So we can pull out insights and see what people are saying potentially about an individual patch. It's an important piece in understanding and building out a patch strategy. Now, this is a comprehensive view of bulletins, vulnerabilities out there, but I can then, with the information devices we've discovered, see how it relates to my environment and where I have 4 bulletins, how many devices of those I have unpatched. Obviously a critical piece in determining your patch strategy. How reliable those bulletins are, and whether or not, because we have a view of customers across the board that have leveraged these and what's happened when they've been able to deploy them, we can give really good insight into the reliability of it. We can also see whether or not any CVEs for the bulletin have been exploited. So we can go and look to see which ones are actually exploited. You likely want to go in here and see, okay, well, there are a number here that are exploited, plus the ones in which we have high unpatched devices, etc. So we can now use this information to really understand what's happening in the organization, look at the overall risk, and use this to build a patch strategy that is going to be ensuring that we prioritize the highest priority, and we've developed an SLA that we're going to be able to build out, measure against, and meet in that SLA. So our patch intelligence is another area in which we're leveraging our discovery, machine learning to provide additional information in which our customers can use to develop a comprehensive and complete overall patching strategy.
When you
So
have a
those
moment,
are the areas.
Darren, we
Yes.
have a bunch of questions. If you have time to take any of them.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'm actually done on the demo side now, so I'll stop sharing, and we can go after some questions. Absolutely.
Okay, so the first question we have here is, do you know the deep learning platform Avante Neurons? Do you know what deep learning platform Avante Neurons leverages? Example, Microsoft Cognitive.
I do, yeah. Actually, in terms of the machine learning services that we enable, we actually use different ones depending on the different outcomes that we're looking for. We use, in some cases, we've used SageMaker, we've used some Microsoft algorithms for it. So really, the way that we approach it is to be able to first look at the outcome that we're looking for, the data type that we're using to essentially build our model, and we'll be running through. And then we'll pick the best algorithm, the best machine learning service to be able to deliver that. So we have a lot of flexibility in our machine learning capabilities.
And the next question, it's two things combined, comes from Barry. And Barry wants to know, our deployment of Service Manager and Asset Manager uses the Avante End User Workplace Agent. Will that agent and data flow into this product? Also want to add, our deployment is on-prem.
Sorry, can you ask that question once more?
Yes, he says, our deployment of Service Manager and Asset Manager uses the Avante End User Workplace Agent. Will that agent and data flow into this product? And he also wants to add that their deployment is an on-premise version.
Okay, so the Neurons is a cloud-only solution, though it does integrate with on-premise solutions. We have a number of integrations between our Neurons and our service management to pull the data, if there's service data, et cetera, like you saw, into Neurons. So while I'm not specifically familiar with that module, I would say that the integration is in place there. It's likely through that. The other is, we have integrations going the other way, from Neurons into Service Manager to be able to do things like create tickets, update tickets, etc. So yes, they do integrate in together.
And our next question comes from Brian, and Brian wants to know, are all of these Neuron functions available on and off the network as well?
Yes, they are, absolutely. So you mean whether the devices are on the Corp network or not? If that's the spirit of the question, then yes, they are.
Next question comes from Stanley, and Stanley wants to know, is this included in the Avante ITSM platform or is it an add-on module?
Yeah, Avante Neurons is a add-on module. You have the ability to actually, I kind of went through all of them, but there's the ability to select areas that you want. So if you're looking to add in the discovery and the workspace, you can do so without the healing or vice versa, whatever the case is. So there's flexibility in which of these capabilities you consume, but they are an add-on to ITSM.
And that's all the questions we have right now. Folks, if you have additional questions, go ahead and put those in there. They'll be happy, Darren will be happy to answer any questions that you have. So please type those in there and I'll ask them aloud for you. Now we do have some additional slides. Are we going to go ahead and get into that, or is there? Oh, here's another question. This question comes from Sherry. Sherry, she is just thanking you for updating her on Neuron. She said she appreciates that. So thank you.
You're very welcome, Sherry.
Did you want to talk anything about the Avante Neurons for healthcare at all?
We sure do. So I think we have one slide for that before we close it out.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of our more recent Neuron solutions we brought to market, and that's Avante Neurons for healthcare. And this product extends the capabilities of neurons to devices that are unique for a healthcare environment. And so that gives the visibility and ability to, to manage those critical patient care devices and systems, so that you can provide better outcomes and reduce risk and ensure compliance on those really, in that really sensitive environment. And there's so many rules and regulations that you have to comply with. It's so important to know what you have, the health of it, and to make sure that it's protected. And so, Darren, did you want to add any additional details on Avante Neurons for healthcare?
Yeah, for sure. I think, we at Avante, we have a strong relationship with many healthcare organizations, and it's a value that we've seen. There are a number of devices. There's device proliferation across the healthcare industry. New devices are being added in all the time. So it's really important initiative for healthcare organizations to understand which devices are accessing their network so that they can ensure that they're secured, that they're running smoothly, that they're managed. So across the ability to discover, to be able to secure and understand what's going on with those devices, as well as track them as a single source of truth within asset management, really is a key. And we're seeing a lot of good traction with our healthcare customers on this initiative because of those challenges that they're facing.
I used to work in a healthcare setting and in IT, and I'll never forget, we put our first discovery solution in. I'm going to date myself. This was back in like 2001. We found on the same network that was responsible for patient outcomes, the lab system, the surgery system, the electronic medical record system. Everything was on the same network as a gaming server that was sitting in a closet that was consuming half the network resources. And it was a real risk, and we wouldn't have known about it if we hadn't gone through an exercise of really exploring, what was sharing, that bandwidth with those critical patient devices. Now, obviously, we didn't have neurons back then, but it's just something that, it doesn't go away. These sort of, rogue services, these rogue devices, rogue employees, right? They may, consume those resources and put those systems at risk. So I thought it was an interesting thing that's kind of coming back again as I'm hearing about this.
We have another question. This one comes from Gary, and he wants to know, are there any case studies out of neurons for SLED, is what he asks.
So I'm gonna have to defer to Darren on that one. For those of you who don't know, I am new. I got here a few weeks ago, so I'm not completely familiar with all of the case studies just yet. But we can certainly try to follow up and get you an answer on maybe some user stories that are specific to the state, local, and education.
And Gary, I have your email address. I'll make sure that we follow up with you on that and try to get the information you're looking for. Nick wants to thank you for the presentation. They appreciate it. And folks, we have a couple minutes. If there are any other questions out there, go ahead and type those in. I'm sure that Darren is more than happy to answer anything that you have. Darren, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or Crystal, anything else you wanted to add?
I just want to thank our hosts here from Flycast Partners. Thank you for giving us this forum today so we can share what we've got going on, and a big thanks, of course, to all of those who are listening. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
And one more great session coming from Marcus, Darren and Crystal. They appreciate it. He appreciates it as well. Folks, if you do have any additional questions, go ahead and you can give us a call at 844-FlyCast. That's 844-359-2278. You can email us at info@flycastpartners.com. By all means, chat with us live during regular business hours from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. East Coast time, and we'll try and get the answers for you, white papers, data sheets, whatever that might be, demos, whatever you're looking for. We want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. We know how hectic it can be in IT, and I want to say a special thank you to Avante for presenting today. Crystal and Darren, thank you for putting this together for us and updating us on Neurons and where it's headed today. Very much appreciated. Thank you both.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Until our next presentation, everyone stay safe.